Hello, I'm Loree Vick, a trustee of Suicide Prevention Education Alliance. I am also a survivor, having lost my husband to suicide. And this year, again, I am so pleased to serve as the event chair for the SPEA 2012 Into the Light Walk to be held at the Cleveland Metro Parks Zoo on September 30th. And I am joined today by Dr. Joseph Calabrese, who is director of the Mood Disorders Program at Case Western Reserve University, University Hospitals, Department of Psychiatry. And we thank you for your support. University Hospitals, again this year, a very major supporter of our zoo walk. Dr. Calabrese, a loss to suicide is tragic, of course, at any age, and almost unfathomable to think of. How prevalent is suicide as a cause of death?
Suicide is much more prevalent than people think. In 2011, there was actually 2.5 times more suicides, completed suicides, than homicides. To use the exact number, there were 35,000 suicides in the U.S. last year, compared to only 15,000 homicides.
That's a shocking statistic.
And I'll tell you, the thing that's even more worrisome is that the number of suicides are increasing and the number of homicides are decreasing. So that it's clearly much more of an issue for the United States.
How early can a diagnosis of depression, leading to suicide, be diagnosed?
Well, that's a really good point, because most people do not understand that these illnesses begin at least during adolescence, sometimes childhood. 50% of people who have a psychiatric illness will have the onset prior to age 14. And that number goes up to 75% by the age of 24. So these are really the most common chronic illnesses of young people in our society.
And as you know, Joe, I lost my husband to suicide in his 50s, but I believe that the signs of depression started early in his life, and learned that after many conversations and great help and counsel from you. And that's why I'm so passionate about SPEA and my involvement there, to help others understand and help to recognize the signs of depression. What are some of the symptoms?
Well, depression is an illness that has a lifetime prevalence of around 20% of our society. And most people think you have to be depressed to be in a depression. Obviously, the symptoms of depression are common, but there are many people who do not report sadness during depression. They just report apathy and indifference, and they report they don't get any enjoyment out of doing things. Men in particular will do this. So that's the key thing. It's either sadness or not being able to enjoy life. And then there are secondary symptoms. The physical symptoms include a change in appetite, either eating more than normal or less than normal, a change in sleep, either sleeping too much or not being able to sleep, and then energy. People are tired and slowed down. These are the basic symptoms of major depressive episodes.
And how do those symptoms, because it seems that some people could exhibit those symptoms, and yet they're probably not going to be suicidal. What's the difference? What's the distinction?
Well, it's quite clear now that it is the depression, the symptoms of depression, that make people have hopeless, helpless thoughts. But that by itself is not a robust predictor of who will suicide. So it's the symptoms of depression that make people feel hopeless and think about suicide. But what happens, what we know now, is that it's the presence of other illnesses that convert somebody who's just thinking about suicide to somebody who's going to plan an attempt and somebody who's going to actually complete a suicide attempt. So these are the things that we have to be looking for. It's not just depression. It's looking for alcohol abuse. It's looking for drug abuse and anxiety. Intense anxiety makes people, it converts people from thinkers to planners or attempters.
Well, it's recognizing those symptoms and those behaviors that is so very important, and is also the mission of SPEA in our school program that we bring, which is recognizing adolescent depression and suicide prevention. The program is in over 121 schools, has reached over 100,000 students
Wow.
so far, and our Zoo Walk brings attention to that and supports that program. And we invite everyone to come join us at the zoo on September 30th in the evening. It's a lovely evening. The walk has grown tremendously over the years, and this year we are so pleased that we have the addition of our Youth Advisory Board, because we know that the teens are our best defense, because they can help recognize this in their friends and their peers. And so they will be joining us as well. And the Zoo Walk provides hope, and it provides a healing atmosphere also for those who are survivors of suicide. And that is our message, that there is hope and there is healing. And we thank you, Dr. Calabrese, for being such a great supporter, and we'll see you there at the zoo.
All right.